Hi everybody! For this week with nonfiction, I've chosen this book called Miss Moore Thought Otherwise. And it's the story of how children's libraries came to be in the United States. To start off, the reason I know about this book is because this is a picture of my dear friend and her granddaughter. They're both named Anne Carroll, named after Anne Carroll Moore, who this book is about. So Anne Carroll Moore is the woman who founded children's libraries in the United States. Her story begins with a picture of her in front of her family home in Limerick, Maine. And if you look closely at the picture, you'll see that her parents and her brothers were all trying to have a picture taken, but there's a little figure in a pink dress. She thought otherwise about getting her picture taken. So that's the type of little girl she was. And her parents died in a car accident and she had to delay getting away from home, but eventually she got to New York City. New York was a big city and some people thought it was a dangerous place for a young woman to live on her own. But Anne thought otherwise. She loved walking along its busy cobblestone streets, going to the circus and the opera, and riding in a horse-drawn car across the great Brooklyn Bridge. Miss Moore pushed for lots of different changes. But before that, it talks about how she studied hard and she graduated from library school and she got her first job as a librarian. Word spread about her library that she had set aside just for children, until one day a man named Dr. Bostwick asked her to be in charge of all the children's sections in the 36 branches of the New York Public Library. The next thing you know, she is taking down, in the area that had been set aside, she's taking down the big silence sign. It was a big deal for her. She didn't feel children's libraries should be silent. She had a special construction. She had child-sized tables and child-sized chairs, specially made. You couldn't buy those at that time because nobody needed them, but she thought they were needed. She chose beautiful pictures by N.C. Wyeth and other artists to hang on the walls. When the library actually opened, the children of New York City walked through their own special entrance into the children's rooms. Hundreds of new children's books in many languages waited within reach, and beneath every window, a cozy window seat waited for the children to curl up in it. I have since visited the children's library, and it looks the same as it does in this picture. She had a remarkable time. She would have people come in, visiting artists and authors of children's books come into the New York Public Library. She even had Dr. Seuss come visit once. When she retired, she again thought otherwise of what people told her a retired lady should do. When she turned 70 years old, rather than sit quietly at home, her friends at the library gave her a set of luggage, and with a small green suitcase for Nicholas, who was the doll that she always carried with her to make children feel at ease, she traveled across the country teaching more people how to make good libraries for children. Today, libraries across America have thousands of books for children, and thanks to the help of a little girl from Limerick, Maine, who had ideas of her own, any child can choose a book from a library shelf, curl up in a comfortable seat to look through it, and then take it home to read. So it's a true story about Anne Carroll Moore, who bucked the system she decided that she was going to do something different and provide children's books available to everybody. The added bonus, that's the book that I did the presentation, and you can leave now if you want. But the added bonus is I wanted to share with a book with you called Fairyality, which is a fairy fashion book where the fashions are made out of real things. And I just love it. If you look closely, you'll see that's only pieces from nature that would actually fit on a little 3-inch fairy. There's feathers, there's leaves, there's pressed flowers, pressed petals from flowers, little bits of fur, again, flowers and leaves. Look at that. That's from the wedding section of the fashion book. It's all real feathers. And I just absolutely love it. But like I said, my presentation is about Miss Moore Thought Otherwise. It's a great book. It was written by Jan Pinborough and illustrated by Debbie Atwell. Thanks, everybody.